Thank you very much, Chairman Whitfield, Ranking Member Rush, and thank you, and Phil, and the members of the subcommittee. I appreciate your holding this hearing and the opportunity to testify. Since July 2010, I've served as a commissioner of the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. Earlier in my career, I had the privilege of serving electric and natural gas customers in New England and upstate New York. That experience taught me firsthand how important reliability is to customers and real communities. Since joining the Commission, I've made reliability and grid security my top priorities. As everyone has said, our nation is experiencing a substantial growth in the use of natural gas to generate electricity. In the past 15 years, gas use for generation has increased at the rate of 6% per year, but in the past 3 years, it's accelerated to 10% per year more gas being used for electricity. There are several reasons for this. The primary one is the increased availability and affordability of domestic natural gas, which is leading to sharply lower gas prices. In addition, natural gas is the cleanest burning fossil fuel, making it an attractive option for new generation and for repowering generation that's uneconomic to retrofit for new environmental regulations. Finally, the flexible operating characteristics of natural gas work well with the nation's growing fleet of renewable resources. This steady growth in natural gas for generation has led to concerns about the interdependence of the gas and electric markets. Because natural gas is generally delivered in a pipeline network rather than stored on site like other generating fuels, it's important that we have both an adequate network of pipelines and operating practices to support reliability. At the technical conferences we held last summer in 5 regions of the country, we heard about 2 basic issues. The first is infrastructure, making sure we have enough pipelines in the right places to support both electric and gas reliability. It's not a supply issue. We have plenty of gas. It's a pipeline issue. In some places, the pipelines are constrained in specific regions or localities. Since deregulation of the gas network by the Congress several decades ago, pipelines have been permitted by FERC based on long-term commitments for firm supply, and that system has worked well. We've permitted 10,000 miles of gas pipelines in the last decade. However, in regions with competitive electric markets, gas generators often don't enter into long-term firm contracts, but instead rely on interruptible contracts or buying gas that's resold by others with firm contracts. This can lead to shortage of gas at stress times, particularly in the winter heating season in certain regions, most notably New England. At the conferences, we received a strong message really from folks across the country that the need for infrastructure is a regional issue that varies by geography, the existing pipelines, fuel mix, and the structure of the market. Many regions, particularly the Mid-Atlantic, the South, and the West, didn't identify a systemic problem with getting infrastructure built at this time. So the conference participants urged FERC to work with the regions on their issues rather than impose a national solution. And on the infrastructure issue, that's what we've been doing. The operators of the markets, you'll hear from a little later, are working under our jurisdiction to make sure that their market rules and their detailed operating rules support reliable electricity. In particular, ISO New England is working on both short-term and long-term enhancements to better ensure that it builds fuel security into its generation markets. We've already approved some market rules for this winter. Second basic issue is operations, making sure that we coordinate the use of the pipelines we have to make sure that we get the best use of the infrastructure that's in place. As has already been mentioned, we had a tech conference on communications, and we're working on next steps, and have one coming up on scheduling to make sure the gas electric days work together to promote getting the most value from the pipelines we have in place. We're getting quarterly reports on this and in-person reports from all the regions at our open meetings so we can follow it closely. This issue of gas-electric interdependence is not a reason to panic, but it's absolutely a reason to plan and do so now. Viewed in the larger perspective, it's a byproduct of an American success story, which is the growth of domestic natural gas resources. The nation's generation fleet has historically experienced large turnovers in fuel mix and large building cycles, and they inevitably require adaptations of supporting infrastructure and operations. I believe with diligent and timely effort, we can make this adaptation as well, and I pledge to use the authority I have at FERC to be proactive in meeting the challenge. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.